3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of The Studio Life, and here we are back in Manhattan Beach Studios, and I am Mark Nicholas, your Studio Life guy, I guess. We're going to talk about a piece of equipment that I think is among the best pieces of equipment we've ever owned. It's one of the most versatile audio mixers on the planet. Now, I'm not being paid by Zoom. I've never even talked to people at Zoom other than customer service or a little support here and there. Bottom line is I actually think that this mixer is the best mixer on the planet. Now, it's not the most expensive. It's actually one of the cheapest mixers that you'll ever find. And when you go head to head with other podcast mixers, I think the features on this thing are just way head and shoulders above everything else. Now, the thing is, it doesn't look as fancy. So if you compare it to the options by Rode or Tascam or any of the other particular mixers out there, I think that this one looks a little worse, but it's about 1,000,000 times better as far as I'm concerned. So I want to talk today about the Zoom L-8. Now there's also a version that's L-12, and let me tell you something, we do own both of them. And I love both of them. Now there are different features a little bit that are better on one than the other, and you know, that's how things go. But I want to talk about the L-8 because it's the base level mixer that can handle podcasts and pretty much everything else you could throw at it. Now I want to talk a little bit today about what makes this thing so unbelievably cool. Now let's start out with feature number one. Feature number one is the simple fact that it doesn't need to be plugged in. Now, when we look at plugs and power surge protectors and things like that, these things can get mighty filled up. Now, you can plug it in, but basically it runs on essentially no power at all. You can take the thing and plug it into your USB, and that little 5-volt jack's going to rock. That thing's going to be powered on. It can run phantom power. It can do everything you need it to do. But it can also run on 4, 6, I don't even know how many AA batteries, and it runs for a couple hours. So you can show up at a podcast, not even worry about plugging it in. Now, it runs like an audio interface, or it can run as a standalone mixer. It can do a combination of both. We run ins and outs, and we can run projectors and everything else that we can imagine. And the bottom line is we don't even need to plug this thing in. Now I want to talk about feature number two. Feature number two is headphone amps. Now this thing can rival any of the other mixers out there with multiple headphone amps. And that's great. You know, you could plug in multiple people and everybody can listen. They could hear themselves talk. Yeah, that's fantastic. But what makes this thing so unbelievably awesome is that they are mix minus, which means you can do custom mixes for pretty much any one of those 3 headphone amps plus 1 master. So if everybody's just sitting around a table and they want to record a podcast, they can all listen to the master. They're just listening to each other. But in the event that you need a mix minus, this thing has 3 of them. And if you switch over to the L-12, you get 5 of them. And the thing about mix minuses is they allow you to do anything you can imagine. So not only can you feed let's say a live streaming software, something like that, where you need to monitor yourself and you're going to listen to everything else minus yourself, but more on a more practical basis for the average day-to-day podcasters, you may have a friend helping with research or a producer or something else going on in the room and someone wants to talk to you about something. Well, plug a microphone in, turn it on, and only you can hear it. You can assign that microphone to only the people that need to hear it, which means if the host needs to be reminded of a question or how much time is left, just talk to that person. It's a mix minus, which means it doesn't affect the master recording and you can have a conversation. Now, we in this studio use mix minuses and use these multiple headphone amps for a whole variety of things. We can not only feed a live streaming system and bring it back in and have a mix minus where we don't have to hear ourselves talk through the live streaming system, but we use these headphone amps to create wireless audio for everybody else that's in the room, and everyone can put on a headset. They have a little belt pack and they can listen to whatever's going on. We can have another one that is only available for the guests, another one that's only available for the host. The bottom line is that these mix minuses are so unbelievably versatile that I don't know how anyone can live without them. And this is something that you don't find on competitor mixers. It's just unbelievable. The next feature I want to talk about are sound effects. Now the Zoom L-8 features the ability to have either 3 or 6 sound effects. Now this isn't like the Rode, which has those beautiful colored pads and multiple pages. I mean, that's fantastic. I love it. It's like the coolest thing. But these sound effects to me are better. And the reason why they're better is it's versatile. I can simply go to an SD card and have all of my pieces of sound effects all laid out in file folder structure, and then I can assign what I want to each one of those pads. And then I can assign exactly how I want the button to behave, which means if I'm dealing with someone with walk-on music, if they're getting up on stage or they're running a game show or someone changes their mind, all I have to do is take the SD card and select what I want live. No planning is necessary. You just do it. But the buttons themselves can each be assigned different functions. For instance, I can hold down the fader and push the button and then fade it out when I want. I can have it loop. I can have it do all kinds of things, which means it's just functional. It works when I need it to work. And that's what buttons really are supposed to be for on a mixer. I don't want to be hidden. I don't want to be required to go into a computer screen. I don't want to do anything. I just want it to work. And that's bottom line. Sound pads here are better. And you get to assign 3 of them to other functions. So if you only need 3, you're dealing with a walk-on music or something like that, sure, you just use the 3. Keep the other 3 as the ability to use, a caller, a remote caller, a Zoom call, or something else where you actually need another feature. And so let's call it on that, and let's move on to the next feature. Now let's talk about that next feature, and that's that little 1/8 inch jack that allows you to connect to a phone. Now what that does is it provides the ability to have a caller come on in. I don't like Bluetooth when I'm live on the air. When I'm on Bluetooth, it adds another component that has the risk of something going wrong or some interference or a dropout. I want to plug in, and so yeah, maybe that's me. But the other thing you can do with this is you can plug into a computer that has a Zoom call. And that way you can actually bring in the Zoom call into your show where you require, maybe 2 plugs. You have to take that 1/8 inch jack and split it. So you get a microphone on one side and a headphone on the other. And you know what? You can do it with this. And what's great about it is it gives you an automatic mix minus. It doesn't take the audio that's coming in off of that and loop it back out as a master to its own sound source. It literally creates the mix minus for you. You don't have to worry about it, so it gives you versatility from non-Bluetooth sources or Bluetooth sources as long as you have a plug, and that plug costs like $7.99 on Amazon, so it's not really a big deal for the certainty that you get and no risk. Amazing. And so I love this little 1/8 inch plug. I really can't live without it, whether I'm using a Bluetooth device or not. And the next feature, master outs. Now, many of the mixers out there, the podcast mixers of the world, you know what? They're not designed for great audio out. They're designed for great audio in. And that's nice because if you're living in the box, no problem. But every great mixer in this world requires outs. You've got to get to a PA system, or you've got to get to a computer recorder, a field recorder, or, who knows what you might have to listen to. Maybe you're going to go back into camera. Who knows? Here you get 2 XLR balanced outputs. Use them as you choose. I plug a 1/4 inch jack into these other devices, and it's noisy. Then you got to jack up. You're pushing up that limit. Here, no worries. It's just a great main output, and it works, and I love it. And I can't live without it. I don't know how anyone can live without this stuff. And you want another feature? Here's another feature. You can record any one of the tracks or all of the tracks. You can choose what tracks to play back or not play back. You can route each one of the playbacks to a different location. You can do whatever you want to do, because the bottom line is this thing functions as a standalone mixer with a full track record. You decide what you want to record or not record. You can record the master, the left and right. You could record any of the individual tracks. You can record whatever you want, and you could play it back. You don't need a computer. You don't need any other source. And when you play it back, of course, you have the ability to mix it, no problem, just like you could any other input source. So, like I said, it's amazing. We've tracked entire concerts with this while tying into Zoom and while running main outputs and while doing everything we need to do. And now let's talk about another feature, which is ASIO interface. The bottom line is every one of those tracks can be assigned as an output into a computer, which means you can go into Reaper or Pro Tools or any other DAW that you can imagine, or you can go into vMix. You can do separate mixes. You can do whatever you want to do. And one of the great things about it is you still get the USB back in, which means you can choose what tracks come back into the system. You can create a mix minus where you're listening to yourself live, but you're bringing it back in elsewhere. So you can take all of these 8 tracks or 6 tracks or whatever it is, you just get them all into the computer, no problem. Take the L-12, take all those tracks into the computer, take the USB back out, and you can create a mix minus without the other tracks, or don't. Do whatever you want to do. This ability to have an amazing audio interface is just rock solid. I mean, it just lets you work and play well with any piece of software out there, and it's never failed me. It just works. Every time you plug it in, and it works. So what are some of the downsides? Some of the downsides are, well, you know, it functions like a non-motorized mixer. I mean, you know, you push the faders where you want to push them, and then it doesn't really remember where it is. And so if you want to change anything about that, you actually have to go in and you have to pick, and then you have to go above your point and then back down. I mean, motorized stuff, it's great. But if you can get used to that tiny little thing, yeah, you know, you learn to live with it. And like many other mixers like this, digital mixers, you have a lot of effects. You can pan left, right, you've got some EQ in there, and you do have some reverb and some delays all built in. So that's nice. Now, back to the cons, you don't have a compressor. Now, I love compressors because you never really know what you're getting. It's nice to be able to just tighten up that mix a little bit. Now the Rhodes and others, they do have some compression built in, and the L-12 does have some compression built in. The con on the L-12 is it doesn't have the 1/8" jack with the automatic mix minus built in for phones and for Zoom and whatnot. So it doesn't have the sound pads, but it has pretty much everything else, and it has more mix minuses. So, you know, you pick what you like. Now you can go into my broadcast van and you can look at our Yamahas. They're amazing systems, but they allow all of this to happen, but the headphone mixes aren't there. The mix minuses are there, but they're all at aux level. They just don't function as a cohesive unit. They don't know their end game. They let you know your end game. So yeah, if you're an engineer and you want to bring headphone amps, you want to bring all the stuff you need, no problem. But if you just want it to work, if you're just like me, you want to take it out of the box and put it on the table and not even worry about plugging it in, no problem. Just do that and it'll fly. Another thing about some of the Zooms, they don't feel as sturdy as I wish. We are in this business every single day, and I just as soon take that discounted price, which is quite amazing to be honest, and spend more for something that I know I can drop by accident, something really milled from aluminum and just rock solid. So yeah, that is a drawback. So, you know, between the motorized phasers and the compressor and a little bit more of the plastic feel, yeah, those are all things I sure wish I could trade in. But the bottom line here is everything else is there. It works better than mixers that cost 20, 30 times its price because of the features that are built in, and it just lets me go to work. And so I'm very glad you had the opportunity to join me. We could talk about the L-8. We can highlight some of these most amazing features, from live streaming and podcasting to even live performance. It's just solid. So we're really happy that we bought this. We use it more than any other mixer that we have in the studio, over Mackeys and Behringers and Allen and Heaths and things like that. All things that we do own. When we're looking for real pro, we do have our Yamahas in the van, but like I said, they don't work great in the field unless you really bring a lot of rack gear with them. This, solid. So I hope you dug what we did, what we talked about. We really love this thing. It's taken us to places quickly that we would never have had the opportunity to do without more gear and more time to prep. We take the mixer out, we plug it into the computer. We take the mixer out, we put our AA batteries in. We take the mixer out, we plug it into basically any charger that can plug in. I mean, it's just amazing. And so we're thrilled. We know Amazon, everybody carries this thing. It's our favorite. We're pleased to share it with you. Again, no affiliation. And, you know, this is the studio life. So subscribe, tune in, drop a note, ask questions. We're always around. We'd love to talk to you.